I think it's important that if you're not doing something right, that somebody can call you out on that, and in a nice way. And I encourage our crew and my friends and family and colleagues to do that.
Hello, my name's Nathan Brake. I'm the creative director of VidMedia, a creative contents agency. It's my privilege to welcome you to Legacy Conversations. This channel exists to share the journeys of incredibly successful individuals, to pass on the lessons that they've learned, the mindsets that they've adopted, and the disciplines that they've developed in order to get to where they are today. My hope is that in sharing these journeys, we can learn from them and apply these same principles to our own growth in order to quicken it, so that we too can create lasting legacies. This week I'm speaking with Peter Hay. Peter is the coxswain at the RNLI Broughty Ferry. Speaking with Peter was wonderful. He's so dedicated and had such a level of self-sacrifice. It was inspiring. Now I must warn you, Peter gave me the option to do the interview on the lifeboat, which I immediately was like, yes. However, I did not realize that out at sea is the noisiest place ever. So there's a few noise disturbances. Please don't let that distract you from what Peter shares. Enjoy. So Peter, thank you so much for joining me here today. You are literally a real life hero, and it's really astonishing how much of your life you've committed to the RNLI. I wonder, just for the purposes to start the interview, if you could explain, where are we?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the coxswain at Broughty Ferry lifeboat. Broughty Ferry's the best seaside town in the sunniest city in Scotland, which is Dundee.
Very good. And what vessel is this? What do you call this?
So we're on our all-weather lifeboat, which is a Trent class lifeboat named after the late Queen Mum, and it's called Elizabeth of Glamis.
Very cool. Very cool. And so how long have you been part of the lifeboat crew here?
So I've been involved with the lifeboat crew here since I was 18, so it's 35 years, and I've been lucky enough to work for the RNLI full-time for coming up for 2 years. Prior to that I was a volunteer at a lifeboat station.
Wow. So 18 years old, most people are going out, having fun, thinking about what to do with their lives. How did you find yourselves wanting to volunteer for the RNLI?
I still managed the whole going out and having fun bit, but as a kid, lots of kids play sports like football, rugby, hockey, basketball, and my sport was sailing, and I got into sailing at a really sort of young age, 7 or 8 year old, and that's how I got involved with effectively the river and the community that I'm quite passionate and involved with just now. So.
Wow, brilliant. Did you ever have like a situation yourself where you needed to call on lifeguards?
No, so far, touch wood, I haven't had to shout on the assistance of the RNLI, but I've always, one of my motivators for getting involved was I've always wondered what would happen if I did get in trouble, somebody would come and rescue you, and I was always aware of the lifeboat as an organisation which is volunteer led almost, and very reliant on volunteers, and that was, it just seemed a natural thing to get involved with it.
Yeah, brilliant. And what values were instilled in you as you grew up as a young boy?
I grew up with my mum. Mum was a single parent, and therefore, by nature, things were tight financially. So she was hard working, committed. She was quite caring and thought of others, and I like to think that I'm quite hard working, quite committed to what I do. One of the RNLI values is selflessness, which is all about thinking of others, and I don't know, almost fell into this role kind of by accident, and love it right now. I love every day exactly as I loved it when I was an 18-year-old young man, and are still as enthusiastic about it as I've ever been.
Wow, that's amazing. That's very good. And what did you dream of becoming as a young guy?
Well, I don't know. Once I got the whole want to be a Barcelona football player out of my system, Top Gun came along. I wanted to be a jet pilot, and none of that was happening. And I think I ended up on the YTS scheme when I left school, and never really had a few managerial roles in business, and that's what I did at college and uni. And I was always sort of business focused and managerial focused, and I was always doing my lifeboating alongside that as a volunteer, and really lucky that my employer supported that along the way, and it's almost a dream to be able to do it as a career now. I wish I could have done it 30 years ago as a career, but the stars didn't align. But I just love what I do now, and embrace every moment that I can, really.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And because you were so kind of passionate about volunteering, did that affect your decision on where to get work, knowing that you would need to be so many minutes from the station?
No, it didn't affect it. I mean, the RNLI of the Royal National Lifeboat Institution is a funny organisation in that they rely heavily on volunteers, and as a volunteer through life you can give a lot more time at certain stages of your life. So when time's precious, if you're working away or you have young family, perhaps you can't give so much to the charity, but when you're a little bit more time rich, or you work locally, then you can give a little bit more back. And it didn't ever affect my career making decision, but I was very lucky for the 20 years prior to joining the RNLI as a full-time employee, that the managing director of my company that I worked for was a volunteer in the lifeboat crew, as ever so, as an organisation, we're really grateful to every single employer and family member who support the other crews and fundraisers, and allow people to give their time to what we serve to do, if that makes sense.
Definitely, wow. Yeah. And how did you first hear about the RNLI?
Just like I say, I started sailing at a young age, and the first time I went on a boat was literally 200 yards behind where you're standing, and there was a lifeboat, literally almost in this spot, albeit we didn't have a beautiful pier. It sat on a mooring, so I've kind of always been aware of it, and from a very young age. And I'm talking about a very young age, I'm getting on in years, but that was 50 years ago. The organisation's coming up for 200 years old, and wow. So I've always been aware, I think.
Wow. And so what was it like when you first made that decision I want to volunteer?
It was almost by accident, in that I used to sail with a guy whose father was a second coxswain on this lifeboat, and the guy that I sailed with was a crewman on the lifeboat. So when I was sailing as a child, they would say, "Look, we're involved in the lifeboat, do you want to come along and see what we do?" And before I knew it, was coming along and getting all the good jobs, like helping them wash the boat and tidy up, and then gradually got integrated into the lifeboat crew, and have been here ever since.
Wow.
So I'm grateful to be part of it.
Wow. Has there been a lot of changes and development in your time here?
Yeah. The charity's coming up for 200 years old, and changes with the times. So as we look around the boats get faster, they get more high tech. The equipment we use advances, the lifeboat stations advance, the way we communicate improves, the way we're paged improves. So we're a constant evolving organisation, and there's always lots and lots of change, and it's just important that we embrace that change.
I'm just wondering what the kind of differences are between the tech versus the human skills, and the relation between, the tech can go so far, but actually is it more important, I guess, the investment that you guys have in yourself, in your team, to develop and get stronger and better? Yeah,
so the RNLI, they will expensive organisation to run. but they provide us with the best boats and the best training that you can get, and we recruit our crew from all different walks of life, and we've got crew who are all different ages from 18 to 65, backgrounds from students to grannies, all sorts of employment, different backgrounds, like not just emergency services, like I've got paramedic, firemen, policemen, but we've got trades, we've got joiners, we've got plumbers who'd never ever need to pay for a job in my house, but we've also got people who work in IT who would understand maybe the IT systems on the boat quite well, but all these skills don't really matter because they bring all their skills to the RNLI, and the RNLI can teach you maritime skills and the nautical skills, which is our strength. We can teach that to our crew, and it's important that we suck all these people from different backgrounds and bond them and merge them into a team. And I've got the most fantastic crew and the most fantastic fundraising group, and we're all like one huge family really, and all working towards a common goal, which is saving lives at sea. So
wow, can't imagine there's many better goals than that to be working towards.
It's a good one. It's a good one, and a great charity to support, and great charity to volunteer for, and pretty damn good employers as well. It's,
brilliant.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your first ever time out on a boat. Was it like on a boat like this, or was it the smaller one? What was that like? Your first going out to save someone?
My first time was out on a little D-class lifeboat, which is a small 3-person inflatable boat, and that was my first call out. I can't actually recall what we were going to do, but I know that for the first year or two I was involved in the D-class crew, and we had and still have a very busy D-class lifeboat here, so that's what we're about.
Wow, brilliant. And I guess, as you're kind of doing your normal work and volunteering here, how do you manage that kind of absolute disruption to you're doing your normal job or life with family, whatever, and then you get the call?
I don't know, it's something I've kind of grown up with, but all of our lifeboat crew, we want our pagers to go off. It sounds bad, but we train. We train a lot. We train every 10 days, but our main focus and our main driver is actually being able to make that difference. So we're quite happy if our pager goes off, and it doesn't matter how bad the weather is. It doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. That's what we're actually living for, and we've got the lucky bit because we get to actually come down, go out on the boat, and hopefully make a difference. The ones I feel sorry for are our fundraisers who don't get that good bit, but they get the satisfaction of raising money for the charity. But also our families who we leave behind, and we've all made personal sacrifices in terms of lots of our crew. If I just think of 2022, if I just think of last year, we had a call out on Christmas night, we had a call out on New Year's Day this year, and there's landmark times that you miss. When I think back, I've been at a crewman's wedding that the pagers have gone off, so we'll have missed kids' birthdays. It's a similar sort of commitment that lots of people might have in certain roles if they do shifts or work offshore, but ours is voluntarily to serve a charity. It can make a huge difference, and I don't think any of us regret that or shirk that. If we can be available, we'll cut ourselves in half to try and answer that call when it comes in.
Wow. It's Has there ever been any moment where it's been, I don't know, so late at night and you're just like, oh no?
There's lots of times, lots of our call outs are in the hours of darkness, and it could be ever so easy to have your pager go off at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, switch it off, roll over and fall asleep again. But to do that, you would, because lots of our call outs can be dull and boring, but if you do that and miss that one where you save a life or you make a difference, you would be mad at yourself, you would kick yourself. And I think if you lose that motivation to try and stay driven, to to help and give the charity total commitment, which is what you want to do. I think if you start selling yourself short and selling the charity short, then maybe you need to look in the mirror and think, why am I doing this? But no, there's never been a time. There's plenty of times you can go out on a call out and be tired when you're paged. The call out has your absolute utmost attention, and even if you do try and roll over in bed, if you were to try and roll over in bed because your pager's gone off and you can't go or haven't gone, or in actual fact, I've seen me on holiday and my phone's gone and I know that the guys have launched and I might be in Tenerife, but I know that they've launched. I'll lie there for 2 or 3 hours wondering what they're up to and what I'm missing, I don't know if that's a healthy sign, by the way, but it's that's a mentality that we've not just I've got, every single one of my crew will have, and I can just about guarantee that they've got every scrap of enthusiasm that I have, or at least I hope they do.
Wow, you must need to have a very understanding partner and family kind of network for you just to up and leave at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of our crew have to have supportive friends, family, employers, and they're the ones that actually suffer. Like, all of us see it as a hobby, a passion, an opportunity to make a difference, and broadly speaking, we're supported really, really well, and they're probably the real heroes are our employers, our families, and our fundraisers and supporters. We are quite fortunate to be able to give them the equipment and the opportunity to make a difference, but they're the ones that make it all happen.
Brilliant. And how long were you volunteering before you got the full-time position?
I think 33 years. I was volunteer crew. 15 of those years I was volunteer second coxswain, so I deputised for our full-time coxswain. So I felt when the opportunity came up to get the role full-time, I felt that I'd served my apprenticeship well, and I was grateful to, I had to apply in exactly the same way as you apply for any job and be interviewed against other parties, but I was ever so grateful to be given the opportunity to take a role.
Wow. Yeah. And what does a coxswain do? What are your responsibilities?
So I get, it's a really broad spectrum. I get to do the good things like clean the toilet and hoover a lifeboat station, but also the flip side of that is I'm in overall command of the boat when we're at sea. I'm involved in training and recruiting and training our crew and keeping them at a level that they need to be at to continue to make a difference and do their job brilliantly. I get to engage with all sorts of community groups and spread the RNLI message about water safety and water educate, and ideally try and minimise people's risk and awareness of the dangers of going to float and being even just by the beach. So I get to be, we're all kind of a shop front of the RNLI, but I guess I'm fortunate enough that I get to do more of that perhaps than some of our volunteers. And I think that's a hugely important part, is to try and spread the message and keep the safety element message coming across, and try and educate people in groups as best as we can.
Wow. I'm just trying to, I can't imagine, you were saying like you had to apply for the job, but I can't imagine it's a job that you would just apply for without doing that kind of volunteer, to be able to have that passion that you have in everything that you do, to be able to communicate to such a broad range of different kind of groups.
I was kind of lucky, like really lucky, in that my working life put me in terms of in charge of things and people, and forced me to communicate and deal with different circumstances and situations. And outside of work, I was involved in sailing, so I'm looking to improve on my sailing knowledge and my nautical knowledge, and you understand meteorology, and you study navigation and all sorts of things that sound really dull but are actually fundamental to what I do in my job. And that's before I'm actually thinking about being a lifeboat coxswain. And then the RNLI are giving me core skills as well. They're putting me on courses about how to drive a boat, and they're helping me improve as well. and I'm doing that all as a volunteer, in the same way all of our crew do, and is just ever so lucky that a vacancy arose and I got the opportunity to do what I do. But I would do what I do, although it wouldn't pay the bills. It's almost a bonus to be getting paid doing what I do, because I love it so much. Volunteered to serve at RNLI for 33 years, and I don't have another 33 years left in me of serving at RNLI, but certainly not afloat, I don't. But I can't ever envisage a time that I would get fed up of it. I'll never get fed up of it, and I can't ever. The thought of having to give up or not be able to go afloat scares the living daylights out of me.
Wow. Wow. It's great to see your passion for this. What do you think drives you?
I don't know. I think having the opportunity to make a difference, as when I look back as a child and think I was encouraged to work hard, I had the normal upbringing in terms of I went to Cubs, I went to Scouts, and within that you're encouraged to serve the community and to help. And I don't think I either liked Cubs or Scouts, but I went along, and I actually see or I know of the leader of the Cubs from when I was a child is still in this community, and I don't know him well enough to speak to, but I still see him making a difference and serving the community in the same way I think, or I hope that I still do. And it's not something I've made a conscious effort to do. It's just something that's probably instilled in me to do. I don't know what drives me on it, but I get up every day and actually want to come to work, and that's probably to the detriment of my family life. But it's something that I just love it. Absolutely love it, and long may it continue, really.
Wow, no, that's incredible. And so when the buzzer goes off and you get the call, what goes through your head?
We never ever know what we're getting paged to, so often lots of the stuff I always respond to my pager in the timmiest manner, or as quick a manner as I can safely, and think that I need to get our team together to effect a rescue regardless of what it is. I always think it's time critical until you're told that it isn't. So if we were called to a boat that was 20 miles offshore with 6 crew on it with engine failure, that wouldn't necessarily be a time critical call out. A matter of minutes wouldn't make a difference, if we're 10 minutes slower and or not. Whereas if you're 1 minute slower and it's a child falling off a pier, for instance, every single second counts. So try and treat every call out with as much urgency as we can, and then make critical decisions as that situation develops about how we respond.
And do you have to put processes in place in order to make that time from getting here to boat launching as smooth as possible?
Yeah, it's funny. We all have our own routines. It's like I'm the untidiest person on the planet, but I can guarantee you that my socks, my shoes, my trousers and my top are all sitting in exactly the same place every night I go to bed. So if I get up, I'm dressed, I know where my car keys are, and I'm out the door as quick as I can. And I'm pretty confident that all my crew are thinking exactly the same way. And it just takes a number of us, and it's a small number of us, to make sure that we can get the boats launched safely. We have launchers, or people, volunteers who are not coming to float but helped us to launch our boats, and it's all of us are tiny cogs in the wheel that make this massive, allow this machine to operate properly and make a difference.
Amazing. And so when everyone comes together and you get all the suits on, what then kind of decisions do you need to make?
Hopefully by the time we're all at the lifeboat station and we've all got our suits on, or our equipment on, somebody's called me from our launch authority team. They've had the message from the Coast Guard what the call out is. I know what it is, and I can look around my crew who are all ready to go, and I can pick and choose the crew who have the core skills to effect the rescue depending on what the nature of the tasking is. And by that I mean if there's a vessel fire, I can look around my crew and see is any of my firemen coming to the ready to go, or on their way to attend the call out. If it's a yacht in difficulty, I can look around the crew and think who here has got a sailing background and would understand how to take a sail down or deal with a mast, or if it's a mechanical failure, if who here has that type of experience. And ever so lucky to have a pool of people to choose from. And I spoke earlier about people having so many different, coming from different backgrounds, and that's where it's really important to get to know the guys and the girls and understand what they do and what they can bring to the next set of events that we're going to.
Wow, so it's making the right decision effectively and quickly.
Yeah.
And I guess your team in that situation would need to be all on board and not take offence if it's like, sorry, I know you've just got up at 3 a.m, but you can go away now.
Yeah, so the RNLI's got some magic values. One is which selflessness, and that's thinking about others and not necessarily yourself. And a better example you can't get is like, look, there's 20 people here, I've chosen 10, and what makes our crew and makes them important is if the 10 who aren't getting chosen, they don't storm off and think, well, I've got up at 2 o'clock and he's go away in a huff. They think, what can I do to help? What can I do to make the boat go faster or launch quicker? Or some will stick about and help refuel it and wash it down and help their colleagues and crew. And that's really, really important, and it helps bring camaraderie and makes them important members of the team, and that's what helps people bond together or can drive them apart. And it's important that we all stick together as a group to make a difference when that call comes.
It must be strange in a volunteer setting to develop team, because you come together for a crisis. How do you help kind of get a team working effectively who don't always work together like 8 hours a day? Yeah,
so we're a busy lifeboat station, really busy lifeboat station. As well as our call-outs, which can often exceed 100 per annum, we train every 10 days, almost no matter what the weather is and what time of year it is. So we're consistently out every Wednesday, every Wednesday or Saturday, and there's 10 days in between. Now, we don't expect our crew to come to every single exercise. We expect our crew to come to perhaps 1 in 3. So if we have 36 exercises per annum, I would expect my crew minimum requirement is to attend 12. Realistically, I would like somebody to be 18 to 22, 18 to 23, and within that they'll get to bond as a group. It's not always the same 10 people who are here, so we keep the exercises varied. We try and do various tasks and make them interesting and fun, and we try and engage with typical type of casualty vessels we can get. So some of our exercises will involve yachts, will involve canoes, will involve paddle boarders, motor vessels, and we're constantly training in scenarios that may or may not happen, just so that we're ready for that next opportunity. And the RNLI also give us a lot of training in casualty care and first aid. They give us training in dynamic risk assessment, they give us health and safety awareness, and these are all simple things that we do in every day and every walk of life. Sometimes that we can take these skills away and take them outside of the organisation. So it's important that we all work together and suck up as much information and skill set as we can.
Wow, that's very cool. And how key is communication?
Communication is everything. Communicating in terms of when we get call-outs, we're given a situation, we're given a mission, it's how we're going to execute that plan, what admin we're going to do and how we're going to communicate it, who's in charge, who's doing what role. And communication when we're actually on the boat and what's going on, it's important we communicate then. And also when we've concluded what we're doing, whether it's an exercise or a call out. We debrief things in terms of chat things through about what we could have done better, what went right, what went wrong, and what we can maybe learn from. But it's also about communicating with the public, the fundraisers, the launchers, the management group, and all the groups. Communication is everything, and it's not something that it's something that I feel that I could always improve on, because I think you can never ever get complacent and think you're doing everything right. I think you always have to think every day's a learning day, and I've got close friends and work colleagues that will sometimes, they're not backward at coming forward and saying, look, you should have told me this, or we could have delivered that better. And I actually love them for doing that, and I think it's important that if you're not doing something right, that somebody can call you out on that, and in a nice way. And I encourage our crew and my friends and family and colleagues to do that, because we can never ever be perfect, and that's one of my skills that I would love to keep trying to develop, is better communication.
Wow, that's interesting, your attitude to kind of feedback, that it's something you actually desire. Where did you get that from?
I don't know. I think you have to be open-minded. We all don't like, nobody likes to be criticised or commented against, but I think it's something that you could either be upset by or try and learn from, and I think it's important that certainly as people higher up, and as you progress in your role and get higher up in an organisation, I think it's almost something that you need to be open-minded about, listening to people, and encourage open-mindedness and encourage two-way thinking, in the same way that a football coach would deliver a message to how he wants his team to play. You want to deliver a message on a one-to-one basis and have it fed back to you by way of appraisal or review. I think that's important. You can self-reflect on a lot of things, but it's important that you listen to others as well. And I've always felt that's a way to try and deal with life, if that makes sense.
Definitely. No, that's brilliant. Obviously, when you go out, sadly, it's not always a win for you guys in terms of saving someone. I can imagine there must be very difficult, hard situations where you come and you take home a body, or maybe not at all. How do you kind of lift yourself up beyond that emotion as a leader and kind of elevate the team or help them through difficult situations?
Most of the stuff we do has got a happy ending. Not all of it does, we're fortunate enough. We work for a charity at a very strong by way of mental health awareness and by way of support. The RNLI operate a policy called TRIM, which is Trauma Risk Incident Management, and they have a process involved and training given to lots of people to support our crew and volunteers when things don't turn out as positively as they can do. We're brilliant on our lifeboat station. We are really good, I believe, and my crew will back me up on this. I'm semi-confident or fairly confident of. We're good at looking after each other. When things go wrong, I spoke about being on a D class earlier, whereas a crew of 3, when there's not a happy outcome, I can guarantee each of those 3 crew will speak to each other on the day, the next morning, the following evening, and keep in touch with each other over a space of 10 to 14 days on a really regular basis. As a Coxswain, I would be in touch with all of the crew, and just chatting about, what happened, what we could have done different. Sometimes a sad outcome, we can end up meeting family members of our casualties, and that can be really hard to do for us, but it can actually be quite a good process, a good way of dealing with the process. It can be a good thing for the family members, and deep down, whilst it's really challenging to do at a time, it does actually help you deal with the whole process of what we've been through. And if we can look ourselves in the eye or look in the mirror and think, did you do your absolute best at the time given the information that you were given? If you can do that and your colleagues can do that, then that's all I can ask of our team. And I know our team do that all of the time. And we can look at a family member and say, look, we did our absolute best for your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter. And you know, we've done our best and we're proud of what we did. I just wish it had a different outcome, but we're here for you today, we're here for you next week, we'll be here for you next year. And if ever you want to come back and ask any questions, or if ever you want to come back and support us or engage with us, we'll absolutely be here for you. And we do have outcomes. I showed you earlier on a lovely thank you letter we got from a lady, and whenever we have a sad outcome or you feel that you're getting down or things are getting away from you, you just need to pick up something like that, and stuff like that cuts across our desk or our station semi-regularly, and nothing can motivate you more than reading things like that to make you think that we can make a difference.
Yeah. Wow, that was brilliant. And what is it like to pull someone out of the sea knowing that you're actually saving their life?
There is no better feeling in the world. We're lucky. Last year we saved 8 lives. We got credited with saving 8 lives at Broughty Ferry, and that's 8 lives in 1 year. So as your lifeboat career evolves, you do make a difference, and you can make a difference. And I often say to the school groups or the kids that I get in a lifeboat station, all of them will know who Cristiano Ronaldo is, and they've seen him score a goal in front of 70,000 people, and he'll go off and celebrate, and the veins are pumping out of his neck, and he's so excited. And I say to the kids, I'll look him in the eye and say, you think of Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a goal? Well, I feel 10 times more satisfied or excited than that. And I might not look it, but I can reflect back on it, and to save one life in your own lifetime is beyond special. To have the opportunity to do it more than once, and the equipment and the backup and support to do that sort of thing, you can't put a value on it. It's absolutely amazing. And I look around our lifeboat crew and our fundraising volunteers and our management group and everybody in the organisation, and you just think every single one of them is making an effort to make a difference, and that's what it has to be about, and that's why the charity, I believe, is so special and so well thought of by the public and the wider community.
Amazing. And so when you're going out on a rescue, you sit in this seat, is that right? We can sit in any seat, but I'm lucky, I'm trained in all of the roles, but many of our crew can navigate, any of them can steer a boat, and the idea is that by sitting in the coxswain's chair, I can keep an eye on the radar operator to see where, what hazards are round about us. I can see our navigator and see where we are and how long it's going to take to get to a casualty. Behind the navigator sits a radio operator who is getting given the tasking and getting told where we need to go, and I'm able to suck up that information and basically find out how we're going to get there, what risks we've got, work out how long it's going to take, and get our crew to the situation safely enough and in the best speed and condition that they can be to effect the rescue. So it's not about me at all. We're one team, we're one crew, and we're all here to make a difference where we can. And have you ever been out in a situation or coming out to the boat and you just think this is too dangerous to even for me to go out in?
Fortunately, I haven't. So we've launched. Not many of our call-outs are in horrendous weather. When we're going out to rescue people, we're going out to rescue people who are usually at sea or on the water, so they're not out in really, really bad weather, broadly speaking. However, there are call-outs that have been out in, terrible situations, bad fog, 10-metre waves, 100-mile-an-hour winds. They don't come along very often, but I absolutely have the confidence in the boat, my crew's training and ability, and my own self-confidence that as long as somebody will allow me to go out, we can go out and hopefully make a difference. And we've had a few times that I thought it's going to be challenging conditions, and I can think of times that I've said to the crew, look, this isn't going to be pleasant, and if you don't want to come, absolutely, I'll get that, and I can choose somebody else. I can never ever think of a time that they've taken me up on declining the trip, and they're the most fantastic bunch of individuals.
Wow. How would you describe your leadership style?
I think we want to listen to people and get people to buy into my own beliefs, my own ideas, encourage them with the skills that they have or have been given, and just get them to embrace a similar sort of mindset and step on board and enjoy the journey, I think, is the right way.
Brilliant. And you must face probably some of the most amount of pressure in terms of time, critical thinking, making the right decision, the right call, because people's lives depend on it. How do you kind of put that to one side, the urgency of it, and be able to focus and make the right decision without that pressure?
I was going to say it's difficult, but it isn't. It's having a bit of self-belief and confidence in the life skills and the training that you've got. And we at RNLI instill a thinking called dynamic risk assessment, whereby you're looking at things kind of all of the time, thinking, how can I do that safely, or how can I do that better, or should I not be doing this at all, and let's think of another way around it. And I'm lucky because I'm surrounded by crew who are thinking exactly the same way, and I'll encourage openness and honesty, and I'm also not afraid to say to a colleague or a crewman, look, this is what I'm thinking, have you got a better idea, and if so, let's hear it, and we'll try and embrace it and chat things out. And that can be done in the space of time that I've just done it, or it can be done over a number of minutes, depending on the situation that you're in.
What do you think has been your greatest learn in your time at the RNLI so far?
Greatest learn?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's to have trust and faith in your own ability to encourage other people to make the best of themselves. Try and encourage people to be to give their best, to be honest, to give a commitment to the best of their ability. And it's we're a most magnificent charity with some of the best training you can get, and it's being able to give that to my friends and fellow crew and watch them begin their journey and enjoy it. And I hope one day when I have to pass over the reins, that I would hope to think that I can look back and think, well, I've played a tiny part in the lifeboat's history, or the station's history, and I hope to be able to pass on some skills that the rest of my crew can take forward and look back on my time fondly.
That's very good. Has there been any moments that have kind of haunted you over the years, that have kind of stuck with you?
I can look back on kind of sad call-outs whereby we've not made it on time, or we've not found a casualty in time, and meeting some of the casualties' family and friends can sometimes be quite hard. I wouldn't say they haunt me, but it's never pleasant to sit down and, you know, chat about somebody's situation or last moments. But sometimes that helps bring closure to the family members, and in a bizarre way it can help bring closure to myself and or the crew who are involved in the incident. It wouldn't haunt me. I couldn't tell you how many lives I've saved in my time, but I could probably tell you of every deceased casualty that I've dealt with over the years, and probably describe them as well. And that doesn't haunt me, but it's something that does stick with you, and it's something that I suspect lots of our crew are in the same way, and lots of people who work in the emergency services may well be the same way as well. But you can't focus on the negative side of it. You just have to think, you know, positively, and try and be as upbeat as you can, that you did do your best on the time. So I try not to be haunted by, not to be reflective or haunted by anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well. And what do you want your legacy to be?
If we as a organisation can train a friend or a colleague or a fellow crew person, and they can suck up that information in the same way I've done, and try and give back to the area we grew up and serve in, I think if people can replicate that, and I could have done it a lot better, because I think you should always strive to do stuff better, but I think if people can keep that mindset and try and give anything back to the community that they serve, then that has to be a positive thing. And if that can be rubbed off or reflected on my pals, my colleagues, my crew, and our supporters, then that has to be a positive thing, I believe.
That's amazing. It's interesting just speaking with you, like not only seeing your passion, but that always constant look to develop and grow and get better. Do you have that in every aspect of your life, or more so for kind of the RNLI?
You always want the best, and you want to make a difference, and I think I look at my kids and I want the best for them, and I hope that they can make a difference as they grow older. And I think I think if we can all think that, the institution's got a mission statement: with courage nothing is impossible, and that to me, with courage nothing is impossible, is possibly one of the best quotes ever. And I think be brave and make decisions and try and help and do things in a way that you can support others, and not just support immediate folk, but try and, like, I can make a difference to my friends and my crew, and they can make a huge difference to the crew and the community. And you know, if I sit with 2,000 or 3,000 people each year with the RNLI, I just hope that I can push out a positive message about you know, water safety, or floating to live, or train one, save many, and all the RNLI blurb that comes out of me, and if that sticks with, you know, a small percentage, then I feel that'll make a difference.
That's amazing.
Does that help?
Amazing. Peter, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
you for letting us come on board. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to listen to you and learn from you, and amazing what you do.
Thanks ever so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Legacy Conversations. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it beneficial. I'm looking forward to the next one.